Hello, people. I am just trying to get a text message sent to my Twitch app that wants to verify on my phone. Now I'm selecting all images with motorcycles because apparently verifying via a text to my phone is not enough to know that it's my account. Okay. Now I am running the Twitch app. And now it's just hung. I can't scroll. I can't do anything. Look how good of an app this. Oh wait. No, that was iOS. I can't. Oh wait, I could tap. I just can't scroll. All right. No, I don't want to be watching somebody else's stream. I'm trying to go to my own chat. Stop. Stop. I'm trying to go my channel. Chat. Hey, okay. I finally have 9 lines of chat instead of the 3 lines of chat that I've had for days. Nothing good is here, just program. It's true. The problem is just not being able to log into Twitch from my phone. That's sort of a situation of stuff decaying and not being in control. And there's just too much of that right now. So like I've achieved reversal of a little bit of entropy right there, even if it's not the right one to focus on. And I still have cinnamon bears. They smell so good. So the past couple of weeks, I've kind of been catching up on stuff and like digging myself out from under holes that I'm in. And I thought I would sit down and program some Bard movement stuff on the game because that's one of the last gameplay code things that's like really major that I have to do. But now I'm thinking maybe I should do more programming language like feature documentation, like how the print function works. That would be a good thing to do. Because then we could get close to shipping the next beta, and maybe shipping the next beta is when we add people to the beta. So I'm not sure which of these things to do. Does the bard sing? Well, in principle, she sings. You do not hear her sing in the game right now. I'm trying desperately to figure out how to check a few thousand videos for errors. Do you mean like file format errors? I think you just have to parse through them all, right? You have to load every frame of the video and make sure it decodes. And you have to know that the code that you're using to decode the frames will actually tell you if there's an error as opposed to just like putting random values there. More people in beta is better, or do you want more quality beta people? It's a little bit of both. Like I want quality to be the high priority, but also if the beta is not getting a little bigger over time, then it's not as real as it would be if it were, you know? You know what I'm saying? If there's one that usually seems more like drudge work, but it all seems all the same now, do that. I mean, I could do the documentation right now, or I could start on the movement thing. The thing about the movement thing is it might be better to do that when I'm fresh, like starting in the morning, because it's a significant job. I don't know. What do people want to see? Let me do a straw poll. I'm gonna invent a straw poll, and people can vote. All right. What to work on? Question mark. Um, Bard movement code. What's a third thing that I could work on? Let's just keep it to those two. All right. Here is the straw poll, actually, in the chat. I'll turn my screen back on. All right. Well, we shouldn't show the results in the middle because that will taint the results. Is playing Unfinished Swan somewhere in the dude? I played Unfinished Swan in like 1987. Why is movement code so hard? Because I'm all about pushing games to the breaking point of what they're able to do. If we had a game that was easier to do, so like Monsters Expedition, for example, which you've seen me play on stream maybe, has tremendously simpler movement code because there are no asynchronous operations and there's not even any real timing. Like you can't get onto or off of a moving object. So it's 100% turn-based, which tremendously simplifies things. Can an end user define their own comma modifiers for operators? No. No. How's Tennessee? I'm enjoying it. I mentioned a second part to the macros thing. Yeah, I've sort of done that. So macros, I would say, are like 2/3 or 3/4 done right now. Honestly, what's necessary with macros is just for more people to use them more intensively, so I can see what's specifically is the last 25% to do, because I'd sort of be guessing right now. So. And the problem is it's relatively advanced functionality. And so people have to be pretty comfortable with the programming language to be doing that kind of stuff. And the beta is really small right now. So not that many people are doing that kind of stuff, which is another reason to enlarge the beta. Why not make the game 2D? Because we want people to buy it. And also we want to make it nice. And it's I don't know. There's a lot of ways in which, well, and there's just good gameplay reasons to make it 3D. Found someone who might do some macro abuse. Actually started playing around with making discriminated unions based on the syntax available from that video. What license would it be published under? It would be published under something like the MIT license, but with a clause that says you can't embrace and extend the language. And I don't know how strict it has to be to prevent that. Like, I still have to have those discussions with lawyers. So, um, it might have to be, um, I might have to say, like, I don't know. We'll see. I won't speculate. Poll is pretty much done. Okay, well, let's see. Now, the question is, do we do what the poll says? I never committed to do what the poll says, but I just want to know. Oh, Bard movement code wins by a hair. See, if the Cowboy Neil people had voted for programming language, then they could have swayed the vote. How do template-like features improve in C++ templates? They're so much better, it's not even funny. What do you... Yeah. It's like not even a comparison. They're just different. They work very differently. I wouldn't compare them to C++ templates because they work very differently. The programming language people voted for Cowboy Neil. That's true. Wait, it's tied now. See, that's what I mean about showing the poll influencing the vote. Wait, somebody removed their vote because it was at 54. Why did it go down? Okay, we'll give people another couple minutes. It seems like we're going to work on the Bard movement code, which sounds more exciting, but it might not be that exciting because, like I said, it's a big job and I'm probably not going to get that much of it done tonight. But it'll be nice to have started it, at least, if that's the thing. All right, Bard movement code is pretty much winning. Wow, 72. Okay, hold on. We'll give people some more time to vote. A bunch more people showed up. Isn't there a poll on Twitch? I don't know. Probably. It's lost under all the Twitch coins and hype meters and schwamalam ding dongs. Better than typing the documentation? Maybe. I also want to do the documentation, but we've sort of done documentation a few times lately, so maybe it's a good way to mix it up to not do documentation. don't know. I don't know. What is this? It's a tie. These Cowboy Neil people are regretting their Ralph Nader third-party spoiler votes. Supreme Court's going to have to pick what we work on. Does streaming impact the way I work? Yeah, but I only stream when I want to work a certain way, you know. Wow, documentation is winning now. What's happening? Well, I think the only thing for it is to get more votes to decide. So here's the link. Again, no more Tennessee. This actually is Tennessee tap water because I refilled the bottle. I actually read the web page. Like usually when I go to a new state, I'm like, is it safe to drink the water? And usually it's like, oh, it's totally fine. In Tennessee, that is not what the web page says. So I'm a little bit worried, but we'll see. I mean, I'm in a good hotel. I don't know if they have filters on it or whatever. I'm in Nashville, Tennessee right now. I'm probably going to Chattanooga on Wednesday. If you want to be able to go to like a 4 long strip of bars that all have cover bands, very loud, every night of the week until the wee morning hours, this is your town. Have I ever considered moving abroad? No, except maybe Singapore, but I don't know anywhere else that I would want to live. And even Singapore is hard, just because I grew up in California. Probably wouldn't drink hotel tap. That's what I have right here. Whoops. The /R isn't right. Wow, look, it's neck. Is everybody intentionally voting to keep it even? Like, what's going on here? It is a conspiracy. It's a coronavirus 5G conspiracy right now. All right. I think that's enough time for votes. Wow, 124 votes. Documentation won, but I'm not sure that means it's the right thing. Now everybody's changing their votes. I need to disable vote changing. I have got almost enough votes here to run for president, honestly. All right, Bard movement code is winning now. Okay. Still Bard movement code. Why not Twitch is voting? Because I forgot that was a thing. All right, we're going to look at Bard movement code. You guys are just trolling me. I don't appreciate it. All right, let me close some things. Close that. And make sure the game still does stuff. This is going to be interesting because I haven't even really thought that hard about how to do the Bard code. It's a little bit, let's just talk about what has to happen. Let's set up a hypothetical situation that we would like to work correctly. That doesn't. Get my mouse. I want a real mouse. Full results are fake. What do you mean? Look, I picked what was on top. Yeah, I got a Logitech G Pro wireless mouse, which I don't like the build quite as much as the mouse that I've been using, but they don't make the mouse that I've been using anymore. So it is what it is. Okay, so we're gonna have a Bard here, and can have all sorts of weird things. So we've got a warrior here, and the warrior's got a block on his, whoops, he's got a block on his head. And then there's someone on the block. Okay, but then also there's like a dude here. That dude has someone on his head. Like, this is probably too ambitious of a thing, but whatever. Okay. Let's actually move these so it's easier to see. All right. So situations like this need to work. Now, what should happen here? Well, this thing should, if the bard moves forward one, or to the left one from this perspective, this thing should move left one. This little stone block, because bard charms crystal blocks. This dude should go left one. The priest on his head should go two, okay? And fall onto the ground in front of this guy. Um, Now this one is the hardest because it's like this guy should go forward one to here. The block is just going to carry on his head there, but then the thief is going to walk off the block and fall here as well. Now, so there's got to be something like going layer by layer, right? Having those layers, having those layers um, basically knowing about them, knowing about the layers. Right. So like, and so timing is weird, right? So, in the case of this orange guy goes one move. Priest needs to go forward one square, but then end up in a second square. And but all of that, the commit time has to be um, all at the same time. So she kind of teleports, but goes through the intermediate squares. In the beginning, we can just let her sort of only visually go through here and just sort of go that far. But then eventually she will need to actually pass through that square because, you know, there could be a wall there. It could be that she gets fried. I guess for the wall, we have to pre-check. Anyway, so when we commit the move, we sort of have to know how many squares each of these things is going to go. All right. So step one, find all the entities within radius of the bard, which already happens. Step two, sort them from bottom to top, which already happens. I think we also sort them from front to back in terms of movement direction, which is fine. That probably doesn't matter anymore, but it's not a bad thing to do. Then we need to proceed one layer at a time, and we make moves for the guys on the bottom layer in a way that we already do. They can't push whatever. But then, as we proceed up the layers, we need to know how far people are going to go at that time. And in cases like the orange guy here, it's like, okay, he's on the bottom, he moves one, we know that, that's fine. For the woman on his head, we have to know, like, okay, her support is someone who's already in the transaction. So um, she goes one. Now, the weird case is this guy, because this thing is not charmed by the bard, so it doesn't go an extra square. But this guy will, or girl. So um, we have to know that this is being supported by this guy, but um, normally this is handled by the movement system itself after we submit the transaction. So we sort of have to take this over. Notice that it's being supported by the dude and handle it ourselves, which I guess is fine. It's just, I don't know how that's going to interact with things. All right, so I want to make this a step easier for now. And we're just going to make these work. All right. We set up the motions. So right now, we're actually not that far, right? So right now, if the bard, they're all boogieing. If the bard goes forward one, everybody goes. That is not quite correct. The difference between this and what's supposed to happen is that the priest on the second level is supposed to walk off the dude's head when the bard moves. That's all. And maybe if we just get that much done tonight, that's a victory. If we don't handle the other thing. What was the thing that made me decide to have things move in layers rather than all just as a block? Because this kind of movement is too OP. It means a lot of things happen trivially, including like a bard can sail herself around on a stone. Oh, maybe that doesn't make sense. Is there a gameplay reason for this redesign? Yes, because we need this to be good. If you have multiple crystals in a stack, do the higher ones move multiple steps as well? Well, yes, they should. A crystal would be indistinguishable from a player for these rules. Okay. Well, let's go look at the BARD code. Okay. Add charmed entities to transaction. And then, so that's all factored out into a separate thing, which I guess is good. And then what's this? I'm actually not sure what this is for, but I'll think about it later. I don't think this really applies for anything that we're doing. It's just when you're walking onto stuff. Okay. So it's literally, I'm glad that I did this before. Charmed entities used to use a totally different path, and that was a mess. And I did clean up that mess at some point. Add charmed entities. All right. So get charmed entities just looks around and says, hey, what are the things? Okay, we pick out anyone whose distance is too far or who's falling, right? Or who's stuck inside a wall, etc. All right, so now we don't actually sort by Z right now. Okay, we're going to say sort by Z major dot product minor. So we want to do everything in the bottommost Z layer, and then within that layer, we do people in front and then behind, right? And so usually the way you do that is uh, you know, you just can make a floating point number that represents your priority in the sort, and the Z distance is multiplied by a much bigger factor than whatever the minor thing, right? So since dot products, for example, are that's like the dot product of the person's offset position with the direction. That's always between -1 to 1. So if you normalize that to between 0 to 1, and then you multiply it by a factor of like 0.1, then you know that each Z layer is worth 1. So the Z layers will always dominate the dot product. But we can write this and then test it. Where is that? Where is it? Sort by dot product. Does anyone else use it? No, that should live in act move because okay. And then we will actually do this. Sort by Z major dot product minor. Okay. If the bard is standing on a 2-high block wall and there's a 5-tall stack of blocks, players beside her, does the top block move 5 steps forward? Yes. Yes, it would. That's part of why this is a better rule, is because you could do fun stuff with that. Okay. So this is goofy. Here we're using a 2-parameter sort function, which is annoying and confusing. We're just doing it because that's the C way, that's the way qsort works, but I think I can do 1 parameter, right? See, we have a 1 parameter version where all you have to do is make the thing that maps your thing to a number, right? So let's do this. Let's go back to sort by dot product for a minute. And we're just going to do this. Instead of having to do 2 frickin' things, we just say here dot product. All right. And then all right. So that's a very simple sort by dot product. Much simpler than the C version where you like compare 2 frickin' things. I don't know why they did that. So let's see if that builds. Oh, whoops, because that was a different one. Sort by dot product. Okay, so that compiles. And now, I just want to make sure that works, and then we'll put the Z part in. So we're going to say for found print the index, the string of the entity, and the position. All right, so it index, because sometimes I get it backwards, right? So it's always good to make sure you don't have it backwards or that you didn't totally screw something up. Entity string and it position. All right. So we're just going to no check in that. And we'll put all the other dudes back in the test for a minute. That's a lot of movement for a single step. I know, but that's the bard is buff. Avoiding recalculation if the key part is expensive. Should you lead that up to the caller or the function? I don't know what you mean. I mean, I guess I kind of do, but okay. So here we go. I definitely broke it because that thing should have come with me. All right. We did rock first, and then 51275. That's that one. 51279. 5128281. 281. So it's in exactly the wrong order. which is fine, right? So if I do this, I do that all the time, by the way. Yeah, it's like sort. I always think as higher numbers as being higher priority, but sort is always, it's sorting like the integers, right? So lower numbers are first. So if you want people to be in front, you have to give them a lower number, not a higher number. I always mentally flip that around. All right, so now, there we go. Okay, so let's actually, so now I'm gonna wanna map this. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna say I dot, this is gonna be called F dot, is F dot times, or plus 1 times 0.5, right? Which maps a dot from 0 to 1, because dot product is -1 to +1, assuming the input vectors are unit vectors, right? Which honestly, let's just be really paranoid about this. Because that is actually was wrong. Okay, so let's just be really paranoid. We don't really have to do this, but actually, yeah. Times dot integer quanta, right? So that's right. And we'll make a z delta integer quanta is going to be 1,000. We're just making this 100 to have some resolution and whatever, but so z delta is going to matter more than dot product in terms of what your number is. All right. So now we're just going to say the problem is probably reversed, right? So so a dot product of 0 means integer quanta 0, and that's behind us because we've mapped -1 to 1 to 0 to 1. So behind us means 0, and in front of us means dot integer quanta, right? And so we actually want to minus that. So return minus I dot. So we'll test that. Whoops. We'll do that to S32. All right. I frickin' got it backwards again. Wait. No, I didn't. 51283 is first. Who is that? Okay, that's fine. But then why the rock next? I should have made these all different entity types, but 51275. So this is basically completely random order. I screwed something up big time. Yeah. Okay, so first of all, this dot product is not a 2D dot product. So I think it's the unit vector messed this up, right? So the thing is, um, I have to do this in both cases. So, okay, so that's 2D. Actually, well, that's fine because we take unit vector there. Okay, so this might make more sense. Is that casting to S32 while still in the range 0 to 1? Probably. Probably. Yes. Yes. That is why you should not program while drunk. Even though I am not drunk, you shouldn't program while drunk. Okay. Oh, this didn't work. What the hell? Did that work before I screwed it up? Let's see. It's trying to make the rock go first. Oh, because I'm unit vectoring the delta, guys. We actually need things 2 units ahead to be 2 units ahead. It's still not frickin'. How many times can I screw this up? Apparently a lot. Oh, because we're clamping it. Like I said, the guy 2 units ahead needs to be 2 units ahead. Is it okay to program JavaScript while drunk? You basically are drunk if you're programming JavaScript. Your mental capacity is probably reduced to beyond drunkenness. Hey, look, it works now. Okay, so I'm going to say magnitude here is 2 because we need to be, because we can charm guys 2 units away, and the ones in front need to go, ones in front by 2 need to go before the ones in front by 1, etc. Okay, so the unit vector that I stuck in was not right. This unit vector wasn't. The vector to dot with one was. Okay, so now we're also going to say dz is in delta z. We're going to, I think I still have in delta. Oh, what is it called? Um, well, we could just go floor right? We're just trying to get rid of any mathematics. I mean, these all should be on exact integer coordinates, but I'm just being paranoid. Right? Like all integers less than a certain very large value are representable exactly in float, and all these positions should be those. But because I'm not actually storing gameplay positions of entities as integer, I'm just being a little paranoid. That's all. So we're basically rounding to the nearest integer here. All right. And then I can say dz times that, right? So if we're -2, that's -2000. That's over 9,000 in terms of how soon we go, all right? And what I should do is even have a test case where we put someone lower down and make sure that person is first, even though they're in back otherwise. Is origin and position a fixed position or the barred location? It is the barred location. It is the barred location. So we want to know how far in front of the barred location are you? Okay, so I'm not using my real mouse. It's so much better. Okay, there. Whoops. Let's try that again. I just missed. I don't. What is happening? I'm hitting something there. All right, I think it's because I'm casting across the ocean plane or something. Oh my God, what is happening? This has been flawless until now. Oh, I see. I was hitting the ocean from behind. All right, because we don't draw anything there. So I'm going to put another character here who is, even though it's behind the barred, it's on bottom. So 51290 should go first. 51290. And we could even put this. Actually, no, that's not right. This. So now that should be first. 51294 followed by 51290. Yep. Great. Where is vector to dot with coming from? It's just a global that we are setting before we're calling this thing, right? So this is a function that can't really take extra parameters because the sort function expects it to be a certain way. So, in some languages you would make a closure. We don't do that here. So we do it the C way where we just set a global variable or a couple global variables that this uses and then call sort on it, which is not thread safe, by the way. There are thread safe ways of doing that. It's just not worth it right now. It's sort of a closure, yeah. Yeah. We actually, because our sort function is a macro, we probably could figure out a way to just pass in the other values to the procedure call. Although macros don't really like, might not be a good way to do that. You're guessing I'd hate any sort of parameter binding. What does parameter binding mean? I have no idea what that means. Sounds like bake. Well, we don't want to, you can't bake this for runtime values, right? That's not a thing. Could you make the globals thread local? Yeah, I mean, I could put them in the context is the fastest thing to do, but meh, not that exciting. Create a copy of a function with default parameters and new signature. Like you just, no, you can't do that it's a compiled language, right? Where we don't do JIT BS. So you would have to know the values at compile time. Now that said, they're actually, the space of values for this thing is not actually that big if you prep it in a certain way, but there's no point in doing that. It's just not worth it. How does C++ do it? I don't even know. I don't even know the template way. I wouldn't, if I were doing this in C++, I would just do it the C way, right? I don't know what the quote modern people think is the way to do this. Do I usually stream around this time? No, I stream randomly. As anyone who has followed this channel for a while will tell you, it is fairly random. Okay. Um, I always stream on October 5th, 2020. You don't know that. You have to wait till next October 5th, 2020 to at least start to validate that thesis. Okay, this is good. So now, um, let's rename this because it's not sort by dot product anymore. In fact, let's restore the old sort by dot product. Although we'll do the one parameter version just because it's easier to understand. So something like that. Let's make sure that still compiles. Wow, the laptop is really, the fan started going and it's just like super down throttled right now. Service host, Windows camera frame. Anyway. C++ returns a functor that stores the values that were bound. Yeah. So basically a lambda. Okay. So I think the next step is to try to do the noticing when we're on someone's head thing. And we will just hack the delta right this second to be double. I don't know if that'll reevaluate support properly. Like, there's all sorts of questions. Okay. Okay, so we're not going to print the sort order anymore. This is already progress. This is great. So now we get the move info. And then we're going to add a delta. I want to iterate through all intervening squares to check can go. Okay, so for now, if we have transaction.single moves. If single dot entity ID is equal to e dot supported by ID, right? Then you know, this isn't quite going to work once we throw the rock in the middle, but we're not going to make it that hard yet. So if the single entity ID is equal to e dot supported by ID, well, other move info dot delta plus equals single dot move info dot delta, and then we'll break because it can only really be supported by one thing. Well, that's just a super hack. Super hack. Super hack. All right. Didn't seem to work. Let me just see. So the highest Z value is 4. We have 13.94 to 13.10.4. And There's nobody else at z equals. So the mirror's at 1, the bard's at 2, the priest is at 3, right? So yeah, the priest didn't go 2 squares for some reason. Okay, this isn't even used. Okay, let's pare this back for the purpose of making it easy to debug. I'm going to get rid of these. I'm going to get rid of all these. All that. So now, if we are supported, it should already be in the transactions moves. Oh no, wait. No, it should be. Because we sorted from bottom to top, it should already be in the move list. So we're just going to debug this. How much do I program? 7. Do I have a master's in physics? I do not. I do not have a bachelor's in anything. Okay, so that's from the D drive before I move things. Okay, and this is in, what's this function called? Let's just look at the line number. 1491. Look how slow that was, dude. This laptop, when it starts throttling down, it's so painful. So we're just going to break. We're even just going to break. Why did my mouse just teleport? What the? All right. Okay. So we found one. It's got a delta, right, which is 0, 1. And my current delta is 0, 1. So we add, now we get 0, 2, break. That part worked. Oh, we have to reset. Okay. We have to change the target square. Let's see, target. Basically, Antifa looted the target, and we forgot. Okay. It's the touchpad, yeah. Touchpad driver also takes a huge amount of CPU for some reason, because it's an unsolved problem in computer science. All right. Okay. That actually worked, even though it didn't look like that much like it worked. She ended up in the right square. The reason it didn't look that much like it worked is because the movement system got really confused, because the type of move that this is only supposed to go like one square, right? So like I think um, Charmed like syncs you with the delta of the character on the bottom. And then once the movement finishes, it realizes like, oh wait, she's supposed to not be in that square. I mean, that doesn't even happen until after the fall finishes. Okay, so what I kind of want to do, I want to leave the movement in sync with the bard, even if it's going faster. So I want to add a charm sync multiplier that um, that does its thing. Oh, also, um, ugh, there's so many things to think about here. Like this is a complex game, right? So being supported via a teleport is a thing. So like if you're in a purple beam and there's a thing in the bottom of the purple beam, you are supported by that thing via teleport. And if it moves, it shouldn't carry you. Okay. Anyway, um, multiplier equals single dot charmed distance multiplier plus 1. And then down here, we're going to go like this. Then oh man, I forgot. Okay. Um, so then, if we have a charmed, oh, actually we can do that. Update push, that's going to be in movement visuals. Charmed frame delta times equals single dot charmed distance multiplier. Okay. Something like that. Dot charmed. Wait, what? What did I do? Unable to. Oh, I forgot to say if. Doesn't know what I'm talking about if I don't put an if. I'm still modifying the struct in the loop. Back here. No, this is fine. This is different. This single is different from this single. This is the new one that we add. Is this what you meant? This is the new one that we add. This is the one that we read it from. It's the same variable name, but different variables. I don't want to use the track point. Get out of town. That thing is not, it's not the one true thing. Okay, see, it worked. Shoop, 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 shoop. Well, that's great. So like, let's get into trouble, baby. All right. Ta-da! Okay, and then if we really want to have fun, come on, man, I thought I put enough squares. All right. One, two, three, four, five. Quality. Now, it doesn't handle teleports, and it doesn't handle a lot of things. But it's getting there. So like, Trying to think how to make a level where you like make bridge on the water like this without being able to make it one stone at a time, which is the hard part. Because I mean, what you could do is like you have to get across fire, right? And like the character on top has to go like 5 squares, right? So that's the maximum distance that a character could go in one move without teleporting, right? It's like whoop. So it could be like, look, I need to get across the fire. Well, in gameplay code, if that was doable so fast. Well, dude, I rewrote this gameplay code so many times. There is a 5 hour discussion on it from this summer. And it handles way more, like it handles, transaction conflicts with other things happening in the world and stuff. It's crazy. If the top block in that stack happens to pass through a double beam, does it just move an extra square or does it move 5 extra squares? Well, so I don't think it should move 5 extra squares, right? But it shouldn't even really move 1 extra square. Like what should happen is the double would teleport it, and then the teleportation would break the support, right? Like when you teleport, you're not being carried by something anymore, I think, right? Like the reason the 5 bagger like this makes sense is that things are sort of being carried by the thing underneath them the whole time. Okay, here's a question. Let's test this, right? So we should have the bottom one moves 1, and then like nobody else could really move further except this guy could move 2. But I don't think we're handling that because I think when somebody can't go, we're not adding the delta right now. When somebody cannot go, we should add a support move thing is we already like this is the part where I'm get confused. Like the core gameplay system already will try to add support moves. So the question is, what happens? How do I usually think about the ordering of puzzles in a game? I mean, it's not an abstract concern like that, right? Like usually there's something I'm trying to do. Like a straightforward, simple thing would be trying to set up a difficulty ramp, right? A different thing would be trying to set up a certain understanding of concepts, right? Um, I might be trying to lead towards something bigger later in the game. It all depends on what I'm trying to do. There's no like general answer to that question. So basically, let's actually see what happens. So here, I mean, that was basically right. Wait, no, it really wasn't. Because like the blocks are out of order and stuff. All right. So this just has to be handled better. Um, so we'll go back to the previous one and make it work better. How do I time somebody out? There we go. Maybe increase delta by support delta plus can go. I mean, it's not very simple like that. Like I'm not sure that I can solve this for real without doing the full version that iterates over all the squares in between because, for example, um, what if I do this, right? Actually, yeah. So this bottom one can go there, second one can go there, third one should get carried one square and then be blocked, right? So we actually have to know how far we're trying to go and then walk through space as far as we can. Etc. You know what I'm saying? Because otherwise there's not really like that's pretty clearly the right answer. This bottom one goes 2, next one, your bottom one goes 1, next one goes 2, Third one goes 1, but fast, right? So there needs to be another parameter. So we have like the multiple of speed, but then we also need like, well, I guess we can clamp it based on the delta that we see, right? We need to be able to clamp it, like Jed clamp it. And then this thing would go 2 again based on the delta, but it would do it like, see, this is really screwed up now. Like, I think in cases like this, maybe we don't try that hard to match the visuals. Like, this one would go fast because of this one, and then slow down. Like, maybe, and okay, there actually already is support code that does this in the movement system that makes you move visually every frame based on whoever's supporting you. So um, maybe I just need to have a thing where we just add an ID of like, add this guy's delta every frame. And then we don't need that charmed speed thing because it'll accumulate. And it'll accumulate correctly. So if this one goes fast and then gets stopped, this one will go fast and then get stopped, but then continue its own thing. I think that is the better way to do it. I think also this is going to be a short stream because I'm starting to feel a little tired and I want to get back more, it's only midnight here, but I want to get more on Tennessee time so I'm not like waiting till 1 in the afternoon to get out and do stuff every day. So I think we might be close to done. You have trouble understanding why rocks would move the same way. It's just one of the rules from Heroes of Sokoban originally is these rocks are charmable. That's just one of the rules that we are working with from the beginning. The rocks move of their own volition. It's just what happens. That's just something that we have to do a better job of selling audio visually, right? Okay, well, I'm going to think some more about what's the next step in this, but we've made a first step, and that's cool. I think it's better than nothing. You know what? Before I log off, because this doesn't take a lot of brain power, we can Benny test what's there and just see if I could check it in. It probably does break some levels, um, but they're levels that we're supposed to break anyway. Um, like there's a few levels that I think depend on old Bard. Uh, you'd buy it if the crystals dance. Yeah, and they're supposed to. They're supposed to. So we'll Benny test it and see how bad. I think we were at 31 fails before. I don't know what new levels have been checked in and etc. Of course, we have this problem where we're at 30 fails, so I don't know what's going to be a new fail. Oh no. Oh no, that's Windows Defender Firewall. I thought it crashed for a second. I was like, wait, what? Why is that on? I thought I disabled all Windows Defender. Maybe the Windows Update returned it on. Compiling shaders. Come on, shaders. Wow. It's, oops. Turn these sound effects off for now. I guess that's the first time I ran Soko.exe off the C drive. So because it's in a different location now, it probably had something to say about that. I don't know why we sometimes draw on half the screen like that, but we're going to move off OpenGL soon, so no big deal. Yeah. So it's really interesting. Like, I need to actually chart the dude in space, figure out if he can go each square, have an array of those. That's up to 5 things long. And we could set that, we could use that array always if you're charmed instead of the regular delta that most moves have, right? Right. I think it's making sense. Some of these are trippy. I don't know how long a Benny test takes on the laptop when the laptop's kind of overheating and tired, you know? Any chai stops in Nashville? Not so far. I've had a lot of tea. Yeah, desktop computers are so much better than laptops right now. So that's the bummer about traveling. Like, dude, if I was at home, this Benny test would be over, and you would have been able to see it, as opposed to whatever the hell's going on here. What is my monitor setup? Do I have resolution issues? I don't know what you mean by resolution issues. I have a 4K monitor that I use for basically everything. And then I have a second monitor that's really most of the time just used for playing games on. That's a 240 hertz. Like when I program, I pretty much just use one screen. God, this is taking so long. How many times do I re-steep a tea bag? Well, I don't drink tea bags that much. When I do, I would say it really depends on the tea. I almost never re-steep bags. Loose leaf, yeah, sometimes. Maybe the case of moving 0 squares should reset the multiplier. That is true, but kind of what I'm saying is I don't think there's going to be a multiplier because I already have this stacked support thing implemented in a different way. And so I think we're just going to piggyback on that instead of what I did with the multiplier. Glad you liked The Witness. You worked hard on it. Problems mixing 4K with a 1080p in terms of screen size and resolution. But I don't really mix them. They're just like both on. I mean, do I have problems with that? Not really most of the time. Dude, the Benny test is taking so long. What? Do I have it? Time rate is 100. Time rate is 100. Yeah, doing your own memory allocation in C++ is really annoying. You can kind of do it in video games sometimes because you control the whole program in a way that you often don't in other things. But yeah, C++ does not try to help you at all there. That is for sure. Boy, who expected the 20-minute Benny test? That's a new level. Snore. Snore. It's going to be a really fun game when it's done, though. I tell you. Loading something heavy duty now. What is it? Just some new meshes we ain't loaded yet. Hey, okay, how bad was it? 41. And a lot of the ones that are dying are Bard levels. Clone adjust 3. Oh, we're still loading Overworld. That doesn't have a Bard. This is, oh geez, this is a new level. Let's play this level. Okay, so the trick to the level is okay, that's broken. That's why it's not being solvable. But the trick to the level is, I wonder why that didn't work. Anyway, the point of the level is supposed to be that, each of these characters can only push one. So to offset them from each other, you need to line the blocks up. So that's cool, but it means there's a gameplay bug I have to fix. So you have to do this and then that. Why doesn't that work? Oh, you know what? I probably broke the dot product thing. That's probably, let's revert that. See if it fixes it. Not the whole file, but I think that was in Sokoban. Oops. Dude, the whole laptop is just super slow. I bet I screwed this up. Sort by dot product. We're just gonna do this exact one. That won't affect our new thing. But remember, I sort of did this arbitrary revamp of the old one. And maybe I got it backwards again. I tried not to get it backwards, but maybe I double backwards it. Come on, laptop. You can do it. All right. Oh my God, it's so slow. I don't understand. I don't understand what's happening. This is just insane. All right. Yep, I broke it. So now I can actually offset my characters. And then now I'm screwed. Lol. Hmm. Anyway, you see the point of the level. So I could re-Benny test to see how many I actually fixed, but I'm not going to do that right now because it's going to drive me insane with as slow as this laptop is being. Don't ever buy laptops. They're terrible these days. It just, when it down throttles, it gets so slow. It's crazy. It's like 10x slow. All right, everybody, I'm going to go for now and go to bed. Thanks for coming by. We may stream some more of this. I may work on it during the day, and then you might just get to see what became of it later on, and so forth. Let's see if there's somebody to raid, as we sometimes do. Science and technology. Hacking Among Us. 2D Underground Sandbox. Bubbles. I don't know, everybody. Giraffe theory. I don't know. By the time I get this far down the page, my brain is just tired of looking at things. All right. We're not going to raid anyone today. Rip. Thanks, everybody, for coming by, and I'll see you next time.